Out of 12 chapters, we are going to discuss this one. Yes, do you hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So presentations. From this chapter, you will be asked theoretical questions in exam. And this chapter is very important for learning the skills of presentations. If you are going to have presentations and how to make that presentation effective. So here you have certain skills, fundamentals that you will learn, and by practicing those fundamentals, and that you can have effective presentation. So practice is needed, okay? Because only by learning the theories, you can't have good presentation. So you have to learn the theories and then you have to practice it. Only then you can have effective presentation. So this is totally applied part. It is applied part. But in exam, if the question is asked, that will be theoretical question. And why it is applied part? Because if you are going to have the presentation, then how to make that presentation effective? So only how to make it impressive. So here you will learn some things, okay? And those things, those fundamentals, you have to practice. Okay. So what is given here? First sentence: recall speakers whose performances you have enjoyed. Okay. So this is the main sentence. See, first sentence, very impressive. Recall speakers whose performances you have enjoyed. Okay. So remember any speaker whose performances and you enjoyed a lot. Okay. And why you enjoyed the performance? So there must be some qualities. I mean, you might have found some good things in that performance, and that's why you enjoyed that performance, isn't it? So so here that is recall. Remember those speakers whose performance you have enjoyed. What made these speakers effective communicators? Okay. So on what ground? What are the things? What are the things that forced you to like that presentation, to like that performance? And what made these speakers effective communicators? So what are the things that you found in the speakers which made the speakers effective communicators? Okay, many people enjoyed that. So here list the qualities and actions that helped these speakers to be effective. So what are the qualities you found in the speakers? What are the impressive actions you noticed in the speakers? The qualities, the actions which made the speakers effective. Okay. So what did the speaker do to get your attention at the beginning? That is when the speaker started the presentation. Okay. So what did the speaker do to make you attentive? What are the things that the speaker did in order to make you attentive? Okay. So these are the things you will learn here. Very good things given here. Okay. So now focus on presentation. So if you are, see, going to have the presentation, you must know these things. See, who is the intended audience? Who are the audiences? Okay. Before what kind of audiences you are going to have the presentation, so you must have the knowledge of the audiences. See, remember, so from the very beginning we are talking about audiences almost in each chapter. That is, focus on audiences. If you are writing a letter, who are the audiences? Okay. If you are writing any report, who are the audiences? You must have the knowledge of the audiences. Likewise here also, if you are going to have the presentation, who are the audiences? Before what kind of audiences you are going to deliver the speech, so you must have the knowledge of the audiences. That is complete knowledge of the audiences, their background, their their educational level, their age, sex, etc. You must have the knowledge of all this. I mean, you should have the full knowledge of the audiences. Only then you can modify your presentation that way, and so that that is you can become effective presenter among those audiences. So who is the intended audience? What does the title contribute to the slide? So whatever title, on whatever title you are going to have the presentation, and you have made different slides. Okay, so are those slides related to the title? What does the title contribute to the slides? Why is the information in the notes not covered in the slide? You might have made some important notes, but those notes are not covered in the slide, because those notes are extra information that you are going to give while presenting that particular slide. Does the slide need animation? Why or why not? So it depends upon you. Do you think you should you should give animation to the slide, that is live to the slide? So why or why not? Okay, so I mean, while having the presentation, you focus on these things. Now here you have some guiding principles for having the presentation. See, so here that the details are given here. We will discuss the details are given. Okay, so here you have the first one is guiding principles. Spend quickly to save. Spend quickly. Spend funds. So these points are given here. Let's see from here. Guiding principles. Okay, see here. Wait. Graphics. Okay, see. Okay, that is different one. Let's not talk about this. Okay. See, writing at work. Now, Elizabeth K. Tripodi. Elizabeth K. Tripodi. She is experiencing. She is sharing her experience of presentation. Okay. So let's try to know about her experience. So for Elizabeth, a successful presentation is multifaceted. Okay, a successful presentation is multifaceted. I mean, so in order to have successful, what is the nature of successful presentation? Successful presentation covers many areas. Okay, it covers many areas, multifaceted. That is, it has multi-face. It has many faces. That is, it touches many things. So here, a good presentation immediately provides an overview of where the presentation is going. So that is what is called a good presentation. So that is, good presentation immediately gives some overview of the whole presentation. Whatever you are going to tell in detail further. So you give the overview of that is at the start, and it captures the attention of the audiences. For this, let me give you a simple example. That is, when you are writing, let's say, an essay. When you are writing an essay, then in the introductory part, in the introduction, that is, whatever you are going to explain further, all those things are just mentioned. Whatever things you are going to explain further, so all those things are mentioned in introduction part. Only then it captures the attention of the readers. Whatever you are going to explain further, those points, those titles, those subtopics or topics are mentioned in the introduction part, right? So it helps to attract the attention of the audiences, because if those topics and subtopics that you have included in the introduction part are interesting to the readers, only then those readers will read further. Okay, if that is not interesting, the readers will immediately stop reading further. In the same way, so whatever presentation you are going to give, so at the start, give an overview of the whole presentation. I mean, what you are going to explain further. Agari ke explain garna gairaheko cha, what you are going to explain further. Mention those topics and subtopics at the start. Is it clear? Because so only those so those topics and subtopics will help to attract the attention of the audiences. Okay, so so that you have to do. It involves some sort of visual ad as well, so that a listener is engaged both orally and visually. Here it should be orally and visually. So now, so that is if you have some visual aid, okay, visual aid, so that's very effective. If you use visual aid in presentation, then it's very effective, and it makes the presentation effective, because visual aid, what does visual aid do? So it involves some sort of visual aid as well, so that a listener is engaged. So if you use the visual aid, okay, if you show something on the screen, then it captures the attention of the listener. The listener is engaged there, okay. And if they are engaged, then what will happen? Whatever message you want to deliver through the presentation can easily be received by those listeners. So both orally and visually. Finally, I think anecdotes always make a presentation more interesting. Anecdotes, that is, anecdotes means small stories. Small stories always make a presentation more interesting. When you are giving the presentation, in between, that is, you have to use some small story, related stories, okay, small stories related to the presentation. If you say that, then that makes the presentation more effective. While giving examples, you can give the examples in the form of narration, in the form of story, that is anecdote, and it makes the presentation more effective, more interesting. So when preparing a presentation, so before giving the presentation, you have to prepare the paper for presentation. Okay. So when preparing a presentation, Elizabeth meticulously researches and outlines her materials. So meticulously means carefully, right? So that is, when preparing the presentation, what does Elizabeth do? That is, she researches, she makes research, and she outlines the materials. So she gathers the materials first. She goes through all those materials. She prepares the notes on the basis of reading, and then on the basis of those notes, she prepares the paper for presentation. Okay, so this is what you have to do. So after researching, I outline my presentation. Okay. So after the research is completed, she prepares the outlines. She prepares that outline for presentation. She that is prepares a list of, that is, topics and subtopics for presentation, because that is what topics and subtopics you are going to explain in detail, and before the audiences, that must be clear to you. And you must arrange those topics and subtopics in the order. If you have done this, then remember, your presentation will be effective, because if you are able to present all the topics and subtopics in order, then that becomes interesting to the audiences, to the reader, to the listeners. After outlining, see, it's practice, 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 says Elizabeth, isn't it? So after you have prepared the outline, right, so you have arranged the topics and subtopics in proper order, and on the basis of that, you are going to have the presentation. So before having the final presentation, that is, before having the final presentation, you need to practice many times. If you have practiced many times, only then your final presentation will be effective. So that's why she is focusing on practice, practice, practice. You see, okay. Elizabeth knows that delivering a great presentation depends in part on connecting with your audience. Again, focusing on audience. Isn't it? So Elizabeth accepts this fact. According to Elizabeth, that is, a presenter must have the full knowledge of the audiences, complete knowledge of the audiences, because that is you are giving the presentation, and if the audiences, if your listeners are well qualified people, well educated, isn't it? Then there, so you have to change the mode of the presentation. But now, if your that is listeners are not so educated, isn't it? Not so educated, they have less education. Then before them, now you have to change the mode of the presentation, because the way you present there can't be followed and when you are giving the presentation before highly educated people, isn't it? So that's why you must have the complete knowledge of the audiences. Are you following? Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So connecting with your audiences, you must have connection with your audiences. It means you must have the knowledge of audience. If I know what the audience expects, I will tailor my presentation to them. Remember, very important sentence. If I know what the audience expects, you must know about the expectation of the audiences, what information they need, okay, what they expect, that must be clear to you. Only then you can that change the mode of presentation. You can tailor your presentation. You can modify your presentation. Okay. So okay, in addition, I think eye contact with your audiences is essential. Very important thing, eye contact. Okay, eye contact with your audience is essential. If you don't have eye contact, then remember, many I have found, and you also might have found. So many speakers looking to the ceiling and giving presentation, looking to the floor and giving presentation, looking towards outside through window and giving presentation, isn't it? So if you have eye contact with the ceiling, if you have eye contact with the floor, if you have eye contact with something outside through window, isn't it? And you have no eye contact with the audiences. Remember, in this case, your presentation will fail. Okay, you will not be liked by the that is listeners. Listeners will not enjoy that kind of presentation. So you must have eye contact with the audiences. That is the most important point. Okay, if you are having eye contact with the audiences, what does it mean? It has positive impact upon the audiences, and the audiences will become positive towards you if you are having eye contact with the audiences. Okay, eye contact doesn't mean that you have to go very near to a particular audience and you have to look at his or her eyes for a long time. So this is not in eye contact. Eye contact means that is at a distance. At a distance, you have to frequently, you have to look at each and every listener frequently. Okay, only then that is you can have good eye contact. And if you have maintained this, then surely and certainly that is half of the problem is over. Your half of the problem is over. Remember this. Okay. uh, be comfortable with your material and try not to read from a script. Try to not read from a script. So that is you are not allowed to read the script. Many people, while giving the presentation, whatever paper they have prepared, they look at the paper and read from that paper. So that is not good, isn't it? So for good presentation, you just look at the point. You are allowed to look at the point. So that's why that is outlining. That is outlining. Before going to have the presentation, you have to prepare the outline. It means you have to prepare a list of topics and subtopics. You look at the topic and then explain yourself. Look at subtopic, explain yourself. If you have, if you have added some visual images, then you can show that, and there you explain the things. Don't read the text, that is, don't read the text, there to the audiences. So that's not a good presentation. You have written everything, you have written the explanation on the paper, and from the paper you read everything to the audiences. In this case, that's not a good presentation. You will fail there. Okay, so just make a list of points and sub points. Look at the point. Look at the point. Okay, and then explain yourself. So this is a good presentation. Clear? So eye contact with your audience is okay. Be comfortable with your material and try not to read from a script. Finally, make sure your presentation style suits your personality. Okay, your presentation style suits your personality. So you should be, that is fully confirmed. That is your whatever style of presentation you have followed. That presentation is suited to your personality. You must have this confidence. If you have this confidence, only then you will have bold presentation. You can boldly present before the audiences, isn't it? And that is if you have confusion there. So if you think, oh, that is my presentation style is not good, it's not according to our personality. Okay, if you have this type of confusion, then remember, then many problems will arise there. Then many problems will come. You can't make the presentation effective. So always keep in mind, whatever style of presentation you have followed, that very style is suited to your personality. Then it gives you confidence. It builds up your confidence, and then you can have bold presentation. Boldness will be there. You will have boldness. So is this much clear to you? Is this much clear? Is this much clear to you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, before starting to talk about, before beginning to talk about this, getting started on presentation. So I want to tell you about some important fundamentals, and then we will discuss this. So see, there are some fundamentals. If you are going to have the presentation, see, the first point is articulation. You can note down this point. Okay, why I have given the why I am giving this actually. If you have the knowledge of these fundamentals, then you can understand the further details well. Okay, so the, there are some fundamentals. Okay, that is you can say articulation. Articulation is first point. Second point is good pronunciation. Articulation, articulation, articulation. Articulation, then good pronunciation. Good pronunciation. The next one, voice quality. See, voice quality. Next one, accent and intonation. Accent and intonation. Next one, body language. Next one, body language. And in body language, you write the subtopics. In body language, eye contact, eye contact, facial expression, facial expressions, then gestures, gestures, and then posture and body movements, postures and body movements. Posture and body movements. See, these are the fundamentals of effective presentation. These are the basic elements of effective presentation. And there are other points also. These are the main. There is space distancing also. Okay. So let's discuss. The first point is articulation. Articulation is what? That is production of the sound. Production of the sound. So how you produce the sound, that matters most in making the presentation effective. Okay. For example, we people, uh, actually, there are, let me tell you, actually there are 44 sounds. 20 sounds are vowel and 24 are consonants. So there are 44 sounds. You must have a very good knowledge of all those 44 sounds in English. In English, there are 44 sounds. If you have complete knowledge of this, and then by practicing all those 44 sounds, you can have effective presentation. Generally, how we produce the sound paw, we people, we say paw. Isn't it? We say paw. When we say paw, then our both lips are touching. Upper lip and lower lip are touching. We say paw. But this is wrong articulation. This is wrong production of the sound. Okay. How should we say paw? That is paw, paw. So our lower lip must touch upper teeth. Our lower lip must touch upper teeth. And thus we should produce the sound paw. Then we should say pan. Okay, punk, right? Pan. Okay, but we people say pan. We say punk. Okay, our lips are touching. So this is wrong articulation. Correct articulation, pa, pan. Okay, punk, like this. Pat. Is it clear? So this is correct articulation. So while having the presentation, if you produce the sounds like that, then remember it will have very positive impact upon the audiences, and your audiences will like your presentation. So articulation, this is just an example. So this is the way you learn how to produce all the 44 sounds correctly. If you have this very knowledge, only then you will have effective presentation. So articulation plays a big role in making the presentation effective. Now another point is good pronunciation. Good pronunciation. So while having the presentation, when you speak different words, different sentences, you must have the correct pronunciation of the words. You should pronounce the words correctly. If there is wrong pronunciation, then what will happen? You want to mean one thing, but your audiences will understand another thing. Then there can't be good communication between the speaker and the audiences. And whatever message you want to deliver will not be received by the audiences. So you should pronounce the words correctly. Let me give you an example of that is wrong pronunciation. So there was one teacher, right? One student, and that student asked his teacher, "Sir, what is the meaning of inaug?" The teacher got surprised. The teacher told the student that he had never read the word. He had never found this word. So spell the word. The teacher told the student to spell the word. And the student spelled it as Enough. 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 But how he pronounced? How he pronounced inaug? Because G for ga, GH for ga. So he pronounced it as inaug. So now when he pronounced it as inaug, the teacher didn't understand. Isn't it? So this is just an example of wrong pronunciation. If you wrongly pronounce the words, then you cannot convey the message. You want to mean one thing, your audiences will understand another thing. So there can't be a good communication between the speaker and the audiences. And in this case, you will fail that is in your presentation. Okay. So that is good pronunciation. Another is voice quality. Voice quality. Now, and see whatever fundamentals I'm describing, so you can have the good presentation by practicing all those fundamentals. As Elizabeth says, practice, practice, practice. Isn't it? It's not possible to learn the pronunciation of all the words in one day or within 3 months. It takes time. It takes time. Okay. So you need in a daily practice. So today, that is, see, similarly, that is for production of the sound. For a production of the sound also, you need daily practice. Only then you can have good presentation. So practice is needed. So all these fundamentals you have to practice. Now, another is voice quality. Voice quality. Remember, nobody is born a good speaker. Nobody is born a good speaker. Everybody practices it here and then slowly and gradually becomes a good speaker. So in the same way, so voice quality, if you have clear cut voice, then your message will be easily received by the audiences. You can make the presentation effective if you have clear cut voice. Some of the speakers have very confused voice. Whatever he speaks, people are not able to grasp because the very the voice is not clear. The voice is not clear, isn't it? That is uh, there are some speakers who don't have clear cut voice. अब now यो त चाहिँ के त नभनु जस्तो अब शेरबहादुर देउपाको हैन. Okay, actually I don't understand anything. You may understand, but I don't understand anything. Okay, because he doesn't have a clear cut voice, isn't it? This is just an example. Don't take it otherwise. Okay, this is just an example, right? So according to the context I have told you. So okay, so this is just an example. So if you have clear cut voice, if you have good quality of voice, then your presentation will be effective because things will be clear to the audiences. Okay, and so this also you can have on the basis of practice. Slowly and gradually, that is, you can develop your voice. You can make your voice qualitative. Okay. Then another is accent and intonation. Accent and intonation. See, English is a stressed language. English is a stressed language. The way we speak Nepali can't be spoken English in the same way. The way we speak other languages, okay, that is, we can't speak English in the same way. English is a stressed language. That is, we often put a stress. Without a stress, we can't speak English. That is, when we speak a word, in a word, so on certain syllable, we put a stress. So where to put a stress? While speaking words, you must have this very knowledge. Only then you can speak the words with stress, and then you can make the presentation effective. Okay. So now see, that is, for example, you say, denying. Okay, denying. So when we say denying, then that is first syllable D, second syllable nine. So our voice rises when we speak the second syllable. Deny, deny, deny. We can't say deny. We can't say deny. Do we say like that? Deny, 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 deny. That is first syllable. On the first syllable, what happens? Our voice is low. That is, on the second syllable, our voice rises. On the first syllable, our voice falls. On the second syllable, our voice rises. This is the way we, and that is speak this very word. Similarly, we say reject, 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 reject. So where our voice rises? Tell me. Reject, reject, reject. Where our voice rises? Where our voice rises? Yes, tell me.
Z, no, sir.
Yes, good, good. Do we say reject, reject, reject? We don't say like that. Reject, 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 reject. That is, on the first syllable, our voice falls. On the second syllable, our voice rises. Isn't it? So English is a stressed language. You must have the knowledge of stress. Only then, that is, whatever words you speak, then those words will have rhythm. Your speech will be rhythmic. Your presentation will be rhythmic. And then audiences will enjoy that kind of presentation. Isn't it? So this is accent and intonation. Then there is body language. Body language. So body language is also called non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication. Right? So now in non-verbal communication, what is that non-verbal communication? The language that is indicated by the movement of bodily parts. You know, the movement of bodily parts. The language that is indicated by the movement of bodily parts. But now, listen to me. You are not speaking anything. You are not speaking even single word. You are looking at somebody. Okay. So people look at somebody in different ways, isn't it? There are different ways in which we look at somebody. You are not speaking any word. You are just looking at somebody. What is this? You are communicating. You are communicating with your with the help of your eyes. What is okay? You are communicating with the help of your eyes. Your eyes are communicating. You are not speaking a word, but your eyes are communicating. Because people look at somebody in different ways. कसरी हेरिरहेको त फरक हुन्छ नि huh? Do you accept it?
हो सर हुन्छ
Oh, I know. We look at a person differently. You are not speaking a word. You are just looking at somebody. It means you are talking. That is your eyes are communicating, isn't it? So this is non-verbal language, right? Okay. So here that is in non-verbal communication, body language. The first one is eye contact. So about eye contact, I have told you. Okay. So you have to maintain eye contact with all the audiences because it has positive impact upon the presentation. You can make the presentation effective. So they will be positive towards you. Then another is facial expression. Facial expression. See, that also matters most in making the presentation effective, making the speech effective. Facial expression. While giving the presentation, you must have a smiling face, isn't it? You must have a smile throughout the period, throughout the hour of your presentation speech. You must have a smiling face. Remember this point. Never, that is, never show yourself before the audiences in a different way. That is, don't feel hesitated there. Don't feel timid there. Don't be afraid. Okay. Don't show your anger there. Okay. So avoid these emotions. And that is, you should have cheerful face there. You should have happy face there, a smiling face there. Avoid your anger. Avoid your fear. Avoid all other bad emotions. Isn't it? And you should have cheerful face, that is smiling face, before the audiences. Okay? Because if you look at somebody with a smiling face, if you look at somebody with cheerful face, it has positive impact, isn't it? And then the communication will be healthy, isn't it? So that's why you should maintain a smiling face, cheerful face throughout the hour of your presentation, isn't it? Never show your anger, never show your fear. Okay, see, that is, even if that is suppose you are going to have the presentation, even if you are beaten by your wife or husband early in the morning, don't show that emotion before the audiences. Okay, maintain that. Okay, and don't be afraid. And another point is, say, that is, before the presentation, your facial expressions are also determined by the dress you are putting on, your hairstyle, your that is the shoes you are wearing. I mean, you must look up to date, isn't it? You must look fresh. So on the day of presentation, what do you do? Early in the morning, you take a cool bath, isn't it? Right? Be fresh. Anyhow, you be fresh. So your dress must be well ironed. You must be in good dress. So these are the things that you have to maintain. Similarly, if you are going to have interview, let's say for job, you have passed the written test and you are going to have interview. So your personality, that is that is marked by your personality, that is marked by your dress, shoes, hairstyle, your freshness. Okay, it has also certain marks. It has also certain marks in interview. Remember this point. So that's why on the day of interview, so when we are going to have interview, so that is also a kind of presentation. Your interview is also a kind of presentation, because you will be asked the questions and you have to face the questions, you have to answer the questions. So that is also a kind of presentation, isn't it? So that is, you must have good dress, you must be in good shoes, that is you well ironed, you must have a good hairstyle, you must look fresh. Okay, so all these create a good impact upon the you can say audience's listener. Okay, then another is gestures. Gestures. Gestures indicate mindset of the communicator. Gestures indicate mindset of the communicator. So remember, you are going to have the presentation, and all your audiences are your audiences. All those listeners are your listeners. They have come to listen to your presentation, to listen to your, that is in a speech. So you can say they are your friends. They are your friends. So never be biased towards any friend. So your friends may come from different background. They may have different political background, educational background, social background, economic background. Okay, but all are your friends. So you should not be biased towards in any audiences. Okay, and here that is also never show any kind of negative gestures towards audiences. Gestures indicate mindset of the communicator. If you are negative towards certain audiences, it means you will, so sometimes the speaker looks at that audiences in that particular way. So never do that. Okay, so this will make the audience negative towards you. So never do that. So right, treat all the audiences equally, right? And never show any bad gestures. For example, you are giving the presentation and sometimes you do
सर
like that. Then
पेज
sometimes
वान
you
पेज
do,
वान मात्र सेयर भएको छ स्क्रिनमा त
yes.
स्क्रिनमा पेज वान मात्र सेयर भएको कि
Although that is, I'm talking about page one only. I'm not talking about other things here.
ए ओके ओके
Okay, these are the fundamental extra things that I'm telling you. And if you have the knowledge of all these fundamentals, then you can understand further well that I'm telling you. Okay. So that is, don't show any bad gestures before the audiences. That is, you see, you are giving the presentation and sometimes you do like this. Okay, you do like this. Okay, sometimes you do like this, like this. So these are bad gestures, because if you perform like that, then these things distract the attention of the audiences. Their attention gets diverted. Okay, in this case, and if you are not able to capture the attention of the audiences, then you will fail in your presentation. You can't make your presentation effective. Your presentation will not be enjoyed by the audiences. Okay, so that is, avoid all these bad gestures. So I dictated you all these points, and then I am that is discussing. So I'm that is telling you these. I'm describing all these fundamentals in detail. Okay, I have given you the points. So these fundamentals are essential for understanding the things given further. Okay, that's what I have told you. Now another is posture and body movement. Posture and body movement, right? So before the audiences, you must stand in a good posture. So right, so you will have that is, if you are having the presentation, so you will stand behind the dais. In front of you there will be the dais, and behind the dais you will stand there, and you have to give the presentation. Okay, so if you have to show any visual, for that also the system will be there. You have to show the visual. Okay, and you have to explain everything, right? So there you must have good posture. Okay, and body movement. So body movement also matters most in making the presentation effective. So never present yourself before the audiences in the posture of a statue. All of you have seen a statue. A statue, is there any movement in the statue? No. No action is there. No movement is there. That is standing straight or sitting straight, looking in the fixed direction. Isn't it? So that we find in a statue. So if you stand before the audiences in the posture of a statue, no movement is there. You are standing straight. Okay? No movement. You are looking in the fixed direction. In this case, you can't make the presentation effective. I mean, there, before the audiences, you must look active. You must look dynamic. You must have body movements, how to use hands, how to move from hither and thither. Okay? So that must be maintained, because all these things help to attract, to hold the attention of the audiences. And if the audiences are attentive, then whatever message you are delivering through your presentation will easily be received by those audiences. And then you will become a successful presenter. Is it clear? Is this much clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then keep all these things, those fundamentals, articulation, good pronunciation, then voice quality.
This class will end in 10 minutes.
And body language.
This class will end in 10 minutes.
In body language you have, that is eye contact, facial expression, gestures, and postures. Okay. So all these are the fundamentals of effective presentation. And one more point is there, space distancing. Space distancing. I mean, so there must be the distance between the audiences and the presenter. And you can find this, isn't it? If you are going to have the presentation, so there will be the distance between the audiences and the presenter. So for you, there will be a dais, behind the dais. So there you have to stand, and then there will be distance, and at a distance, there will be the audiences. This is also maintained there.